On a radiant afternoon, the cream-colored stones of Buckingham Palace glow under a sun that bathes London in golden warmth. The Union Jack flutters atop its flagpole, a steadfast symbol of tradition, swaying gently in the crisp autumn breeze. The forecourt hums with live tourists snapping photos, children clutching miniature flags, the air alive with the scent of roasted chestnuts and the faint rustle of fallen leaves. At the heart of this historic stage stands a royal guard, his scarlet tunic a vivid splash of color, his towering bearskin hat a testament to centuries of duty. But today, a single encounter will unfold, a clash between one woman's arrogance and a soldier's unbreakable resolve, a moment that will reveal the truest meaning of honor in the shadow of the palace gates. As the world watches, one question resonates. What does it take to stand firm when power demands submission? The crowd parts like a tide as Victoria Blackwood strides through the forecourt, her presence a commanding force that silences chatter. Artemis, she is a millionaire tech CEO, the architect of a global empire that spans continents, her name etched in the annals of industry. Her gunmetal gray suit, tailored to perfection, hugs her frame, its sharp lines a mirror to the cold steel in her emerald eyes. Her dark hair is pulled into a flawless chignon, her heels striking the cobblestones with a rhythm that demands attention. Victoria is in London to finalize a monumental merger, her days filled with high-stakes negotiations and glittering galas. But she has paused to visit Buckingham Palace, drawn by its prestige and the chance to assert her dominance in yet another arena. A flashback transports us to a sleek Manhattan boardroom, where Victoria's voice, sharp and unyielding, seals a billion-pound deal, her rivals cowed by her relentless will. To her, every space is a battlefield, every interaction an opportunity to prove her superiority. And she expects even the storied grounds of the palace to bow to her command. At the palace gates, Private Thomas Caldwell stands motionless, a living embodiment of the Queen's Guard, with a lean, battle-scarred frame. Caldwell is no mere ceremonial figure. His dark eyes, steady beneath the brim of his bearskin hat, hold a focus forged in the crucible of combat. 8 years with the elite parachute regiment have shaped him. His service in Afghanistan's Helmand province earning him a military cross for bravery. A faint flashback shows him in a dusty village, his uniform streaked with blood and dirt, carrying a wounded comrade 3 miles through enemy fire. His resolve unshaken as mortars explode around him. Now, as a royal guard, his goal is unwavering. Uphold the crown's honor with absolute discipline, a duty that transcends wealth, status, or fame. His scarlet tunic is pristine, his rifle held at precisely the correct angle. His stillness a silent vow to the tradition he serves. The forecourt is a vibrant tapestry of faces, tourists with cameras slung around their necks, a vendor hawking Union Jack postcards, an elderly couple strolling arm in arm, their faces lit with nostalgia. Among them, an elderly veteran in a tilted beret leans on his cane, his eyes sharp with the memory of his own service. A young mother holds her son's hand, pointing out the guard's bright uniform, while a group of students whisper excitedly, their guidebooks open. The crowd is unaware of the drama about to unfold, their voices a lively hum, their cameras capturing the palace's grandeur. Victoria, her assistant trailing nervously with a tablet in hand, locks her gaze on Caldwell, expecting the deference she believes her wealth and status command. She stops a few feet from him, her heels echoing like a drumbeat on the cobblestones, and speaks, her voice sharp and imperious. "Do you know who I am?" she demands, her words cutting through the crowd's chatter like a blade. Caldwell remains motionless, his gaze fixed on an unseen horizon, his silence a wall that Victoria cannot breach. The tourists turn, their murmurs fading. Sensing the brewing tension, the elderly couple pauses, the woman's hand tightening on her husband's arm. The vendor, his cart momentarily forgotten, raises an eyebrow. Victoria's pride, a fire that has fueled her rise, ignites at the guard's refusal to acknowledge her. She steps closer, her emerald eyes narrowing, her voice rising with indignation. "You're a relic, ignoring my status," she snaps, her words loud enough to draw gasps from the crowd. The young mother pulls her son closer, his eyes wide with curiosity. The veteran, his beret tilted, grips his cane tighter, his frown deepening as he senses trouble. Victoria's assistant shifts uncomfortably, but she presses on, her tone venomous. "I could ruin you with one call," she threatens, her hand diving into her designer handbag. The crowd holds its breath as she pulls out a small pepper spray canister, its sleek black form a jarring intrusion in this sacred space. "Acknowledge me," she hisses, "or I'll make you." The tension escalates as Victoria's entitlement blinds her to the propriety of the moment. She steps even closer, the pepper spray raised like a weapon, her face inches from Caldwell's. "I'll have your superiors dismiss you," she threatens, her voice a low growl, her confidence unshaken by the crowd's growing unease. The tourists whisper, their phones raised, capturing the unfolding drama. The elderly woman murmurs to her husband, "She can't do that, can she?" The students, their guidebooks forgotten, watch wide-eyed, while the vendor shakes his head, muttering, "This won't end well." The veteran, his eyes narrowing, steps closer to the barrier, his voice low but firm. "She's crossed a line," he says to those nearby, his words heavy with experience. Caldwell's posture remains unbroken. He's training a fortress against provocation. His eyes, though facing the threat of the spray, remain fixed. His body, a pillar of resolve. In a moment of reckless arrogance, Victoria presses the canister's trigger, sending a burst of pepper spray toward Caldwell's face. The crowd gasps, a collective sound that echoes across the forecourt, expecting the guard to falter, to collapse, to break. The spray hits Caldwell's face, a stinging mist that reddens his eyes and sears his skin. A flicker of pain crosses his features, a brief tightening of his jaw. But he does not move, does not cry out, does not yield. His resilience is a silent rebuke, a testament to a strength forged in trials Victoria cannot comprehend. The crowd watches, awestruck, as the guard stands like a statue, his scarlet tunic vivid against the gray cobblestones, his bearskin hat unmoved by the breeze. Victoria falters, the canister trembling in her hand, her confidence cracking as she realizes her power has failed her. The elderly couple claps softly, their applause a spark that spreads through the crowd. The young mother, her son now peeking out, whispers, "He's so brave." The students, their faces lit with admiration, lower their phones, their respect palpable. The veteran, his beret tilted proudly, mutters, "He's seen worse." Caldwell, his vision blurred but his training absolute, acts with the precision of a soldier who has faced far greater threats. In a single, fluid motion, he lifts his gloved hand and seizes Victoria's wrist, his grip gentle but unyielding. The canister falls, rolling across the cobblestones with a faint clatter, its threat extinguished. He holds her wrist, his eyes locking onto hers, a silent command to stand down. His voice, when it comes, is low and steady, cutting through the crowd's murmurs. "Ma'am, you will step back." The words are not angry, not vengeful, but resolute, a declaration of duty that silences the forecourt. Victoria's face pales, her emerald eyes wide with shock, her arrogance stripped bare. The crowd watches in reverence, their phones lowered, their respect for Caldwell deepening. The veteran steps forward, his cane tapping the ground, his voice rough but resonant, carrying the weight of experience. "That man fought in Kandahar," he says, pointing to Caldwell, his words slicing through the tension, "carried his squad through hell. You think a spray will break him?" The revelation lands like a thunderbolt, stripping away Victoria's illusions. The crowd murmurs, heads turning, as they learn Caldwell's history, a decorated soldier of the parachute regiment, a man who has stared down death in Afghanistan's most brutal battlefields, whose courage was forged in the crucible of war. The tourists, their faces a mix of awe and shame, whisper among themselves, some clapping, others nodding in respect. The elderly couple, their hands clasped, smile warmly, the woman murmuring, "God bless him." The young mother lifts her son higher, pointing to Caldwell as a lesson in bravery. The students, their guidebooks clutched tightly, exchange looks of admiration, one whispering, "He's a hero." The vendor, now grinning, calls out, "Well done, lad." The veteran, his point made, steps back, his eyes never leaving Victoria, his beret a silent badge of his own service. Two police officers push through the crowd, their radios crackling, their movements calm but firm. They approach Victoria, who stands motionless, her wrist released, her designer suit now a hollow symbol of her power. The officers, their faces professional but stern, place handcuffs on her. The cold metal, a stark contrast to her polished exterior. Victoria's face, once a mask of arrogance, is now ashen, her eyes downcast, the weight of her actions settling like a stone. The crowd watches, not with malice, but with a quiet acknowledgement of justice. The officers lead her away, her heels no longer clicking with authority, her presence diminished in the face of something greater. Caldwell resumes his post, his rifle steady, his bearskin hat adjusted, as if the encounter was but a fleeting ripple in his day. The palace forecourt returns to its rhythm, the tourists resuming their photos, the vendor calling out prices, but the moment has left its mark, a story already weaving itself into legend. In the days that follow, the incident reverberates far beyond the palace gates. A tourist's video, capturing Victoria's spray and Caldwell's resolve, goes viral, shared across social media, with captions of admiration and disbelief. News outlets pick up the story, framing it as a lesson in humility, a clash between wealth and honor that ended with the soldier's triumph. Commentators debate the nuances, Victoria's entitlement, Caldwell's restraint, the veteran's pivotal role, but the consensus is clear. In the shadow of Buckingham Palace, a guard's quiet strength prevailed. Victoria, facing charges of assault and public disturbance, retreats from the public eye, her merger talks faltering, her reputation in tatters. She spends sleepless nights in her London penthouse, the veteran's words echoing in her mind, Caldwell's unflinching gaze a mirror to her own flaws. She begins to question her empire, her values, her legacy, the lesson of that day. A wound that forces growth, however painful. Caldwell, meanwhile, returns to his duties, his life unchanged by the spotlight. His comrades in the barracks offer quiet nods, their respect unspoken but profound. His commanding officer, Captain Daniel Edwards, summons him for a brief meeting, his tone gruff but approving. "You handled it with honor, Caldwell," he says, a rare smile tugging at his lips. "The crown's proud of you." Caldwell nods, his face impassive, but inside he feels a warmth, a confirmation that his choice was right. He thinks of his time in Afghanistan, of the men he saved, the promises he made to live with purpose. The encounter with Victoria is but a moment, a test he passed without fanfare, a reminder that his strength lies not in what he says, but in what he does. He stands guard the next day, the sunrise casting a golden glow over the palace, his silhouette a symbol of enduring duty. The veteran, whose voice turned the tide, returns to his modest flat in East London, his military cross displayed on a simple shelf. He tells the story to his granddaughter, his voice steady, his pride in Caldwell a reflection of his own service. The girl listens, her eyes wide, vowing to remember the guard, the woman, the lesson. The elderly couple, back in their village, recount the incident to their neighbors, their voices filled with admiration for the young soldier. The young mother and her son visit the palace again, the boy clutching a toy soldier, pointing to the guards with newfound respect. The vendor, his cart now adorned with a small Union Jack, shares the tale with every customer, embellishing it with each telling. But the core remains, a woman of power, humbled by a soldier's resolve. The palace, with its golden gates and ancient stones, stands as it always has, a witness to countless dramas. Its honor, upheld by those who serve it. The story of Victoria and Caldwell becomes a modern parable, a tale of hubris and humility, of flash versus fortitude, of the power of a single moment to reveal the truth. It reminds us that honor is not a commodity to be bought, not a price to be demanded, but a virtue forged in sacrifice and proven in silence. Victoria Blackwood, in her defeat, learned what many spend lifetimes discovering, that the truest power lies in resilience, in the ability to stand firm against the storm, to embody the values that time cannot erode. Private Caldwell, with his silent strength, became her teacher, and in doing so, a beacon for us all. What does honor mean to you? Have you ever witnessed a moment where quiet strength triumphed over arrogance, where principle stood firm against pressure? Share your story in the comments below. Tell us about the moments that tested your values, the choices that defined your honor, the lessons that linger in your heart. If you're moved by stories like Thomas Caldwell's stories of resilience, duty, and the quiet victories that shape our world, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell. Join us for more tales that inspire, that challenge, that remind us of the strength within us all every single day.